online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Folks, how's it going? I'm Jesse Klein. I'm your host tonight. I'm here with Scott Moore. Scott, what can we find here?
Woo. You can find me at sman80 on the old Twitter. That's SMAN80.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we are your Defiance after show here at AFTERBUZZ. You can find me at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1. And if you guys want to go to Podcast One and take a really cool, really quick survey, it will help us out and it'll help keep the lights on here. And speaking of keeping the lights on, we're going to get to the Defiance after show. But really quickly, I know this is an advertisement, and that's kind of lame, but this is an advertisement for something awesome. Okay, it's called Next Issue. It's an app that you can download, and it's this really cool thing. They've given us a tablet. They didn't give us a tablet. They've let us borrow a tablet so we can show it off.
Do your best Vanna White right there.
Yeah, this is my best Vanna White. You can get any issue of any magazine for $10 a month. This is any magazine. This is like, Rolling Stone is right here. It's got Ski Enthusiast. It's got Shape. It's got every single magazine. These are
Southern Living. I mean,
Southern
hello.
Living.
Something for everybody is available
and
right at the touch of your own fingertips.
These aren't magazines that are weird magazines that you might find in like a European dentist's office. There's no these are Sports Illustrated Kids. These are top tier magazines you can get for $10 a month. But guess what? I got great news, folks.
You're like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, because if you go to you can get a free 30-day trial at nextissue.com/abtv. That means for 30 days, you're getting all of the magazines for free. That's a deal, and they get updated whenever the issue comes out. You get that issue digitally. You're up to date. People are talking about stuff. You can read it in a magazine. I mean, I was actually just thinking about how I'm an adult now, and it's I should probably have a subscription to Time Magazine.
That's right. Maybe when I'm an adult, I could pretend and I can have Time Magazine as well.
Well, I mean, technically, I'm legally. I've been an adult for a while, and now I should start acting like an adult. And owning a Time Magazine subscription seems like a very adult thing to do.
Right, and then you don't have to steal it from your European dentist's office anymore.
Exactly.
Because you'll have it right at your fingertips.
My weird European dentist. This is such a cool app. I don't know. I've been scrolling through it. They gave us this, and it's there are all these magazines that I'm super excited about. There's just a magazine that's called Wood. You just read, and on a whim, I'll read a magazine about wood. Sure, why not? Science enthusiast, wine enthusiast, Vanity Fair, that famous cover that's right there.
That's right.
You can just there's so many magazines, and they're all at the tips of your fingers. So again, you can get a 30-day free trial, nextissue.com/abtv, and that will help us get some, that'll help keep the lights on here, but mostly it's going to help you guys out. You're going to have a bunch of magazines to read. What are you doing? You're not going to read a magazine. Read a magazine. Come on, folks. Awesome. Let's get to Broken Bough.
Yes.
Episode 2. Season 3.
Yeah, is it episode 2 or are we
I guess episode 3.
3? 2.5? I don't know how they're doing it now because they
did that 2-hour special.
Yeah, when they put 2 episodes as one, so they're making it confusing already. Oh, and by the way, if anyone wants to follow us along on the YouTube, on the Twitter, I should say, you can follow along with the hashtag DefianceABTV.
DefianceABTV.
And that way we can also respond and interact with you guys.
Yeah, please do. I love talking with people on the YouTube page and through Twitter and stuff like that, so please do. Broken Bough starts off We have Nolan reading the book about him and Irisa.
Find a network connection.
That's probably.
Connect and try again.
That's probably this thing.
I was like, oh, she's trying to find the connection there.
All right, well, obviously I'm terrible at technology. Folks, this is live. So yeah, they're reading the book. Him and Irisa were kind of like establishing the relationship again. I don't know. I think it's probably kind of weird for them. They spent months in a tube together. Like I think it's like helping us establish that relationship again. It was weird. I don't know. Like the relationship seems strained at the beginning of this.
I feel like the relationship has been strained, not even from the beginning, but throughout this episode and continuing over from last episode. And really, I mean, it's just I even made my notice: sassy daughter-father relationship is what I refer to it as.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of, and it's more on Nolan's part to me. Like you're seeing more of him giving the comments and kind of throwing things at her and kind of undermining her, undermining Irisa.
Yeah.
Did you feel that at all? Like some of the things that were happening throughout?
It felt like, I guess I never noticed how violent Nolan is.
Yeah.
Until this episode. But I guess he's I knew he was violent, but not so quick to kill.
Yeah.
And I guess we find he's the butcher. We find out that that's a nickname he had. I think it's very interesting that Irisa has found this kind of no-kill policy. And in general, I usually like characters like that. But in a town like Defiance, which is basically the Old West, it's going to get people that she loves hurt or killed. So I think that's a lot of what the fight is right now between the two of them.
Right. And sort of like what we talked about last week about, and this episode's continuing that kind of no holds bar, that nobody's safe mentality, and we just continue that right on through tonight's episode as well.
Yeah, well, we get they come in, they've got a report that a VC convoy is broken through the lines and it's coming through, and you see them all soldiering up, getting their weapons ready, and who walks through but it's Tarak and Stahma.
Of course.
And it's like, oh, such a perfect cover.
Yeah.
They escaped, they lost Alec, they don't know where Luke is, and they're getting taken care of. Doc Yule barely in this.
I know, and she always has the best lines too, and I'm like, man, I'm always sad when she's not in as much.
She seemed way too nice. He was like, thanks for helping Tarak out, and she's like, I didn't do it for you. It's like, if I were her, I'd be screaming in his face constantly.
Right, after he ripped off a 6x3 inch of my skin for some Omec.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be holding a very serious grudge.
Something that might be the end of this town.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I would be holding more of a grudge than I just didn't do it for you.
But yeah, Tarak and Stahma have this story that they've concocted. We see them. We see everyone. They tell them what happened to the Macaulays. That was really I was like Nolan's response was just like, all right, well, we're gonna go kill them all.
I know.
Almost immediately. That was kind of a big moment. And
it was a huge moment.
I didn't think about the ramifications. No one back at Defiance
knew about this, exactly, because we as the audience knew, but nobody else from there knew how serious it really was.
And I thought Amanda was going to respond bigger than she did, but she seemed to keep a cool head.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too, especially after what happened with her sister. You would have figured there would have been more of an emotional reaction than how she responded.
Yeah, she and Rafe were real close, and the Macaulays were a huge part
of them, and just the human side of the town of Defiance.
Yeah.
So I was definitely surprised too by her lack of emotional reaction to that news.
But understandably, we see Nolan and Irisa kind of pony up. They're like, let's go
ready
get
to jump in action.
Yeah, Nolan's getting an arsenal out, and Amanda's like, just go, and she's like, please just go and get numbers. Tell me how many there are. Let's think about this strategically. And he puts his badge on the table, and he's like, you do that. And he's like, I'm gonna go. And he has that moment with Irisa where he's like, can I count on you? And she's like, yeah, sure. But like she's obviously dealing with so much PTSD.
Right.
And we see later on in the episode that she still isn't willing to kill. Like she's still not going to do it. She could have made the season real quick.
Oh yeah.
It could have ended
exactly. Already ended the season already.
Yeah.
Second episode, it's done.
And they go track the VC, and they meet up with like a little VC convoy, and they get in a firefight. And who comes to save them but old crazy pants Pilar? And I thought for sure, like I thought for sure, number one, Nolan would just know who she was.
Right. I was surprised and kind of forgetting that we as the viewer had seen her, but technically, as far as we know, he hadn't seen her. Yeah. He'd only heard about her.
Yeah, and they go back to the cabin, they see Luke, and Pilar does this kind of huge lie.
Huge story,
She found the kid and taken
Kansas
him.
And some massacre, and had this whole concocted story. Yeah. Ready to go for this.
Yeah, and Nolan hands her a gun as like just in case. And I don't know about you, but that's kind of like a trope. Like when he's like, here, take this gun. It's like, the firing mechanism is out of it, or like it doesn't have any bullets, like that kind of thing. Like as soon as that happened, I was
always
like,
the convenient,
I was like, oh man, there's no way that gun works. He's not just handing her this gun.
Exactly.
And I mean, here's the thing about Pilar. I call her crazy pants. She is crazy.
She is crazy.
But I mean, all of her reasoning is the right reasoning.
Yes, her reasoning is right in a very crazy way of thinking about it and going about it.
I mean, she specifically wants to protect her grandchild and wants to protect her family. Right. It's just how she acts
goes about it
through it. Like it's the context of what she does that makes her crazy. Like if you just like put in text what she does, or why she does it, like you're like, oh yeah, this sounds like a reasonable person. But like even like seeing her, I'm like, I just don't trust her. Like I don't trust her at all. Right. Luke's name is Bear now. Yeah. Which I'm okay with. That's a cool name because he hibernates like a bear. I'm like,
which is what I need to be doing in a couple weeks.
I'm okay with that for Luke. Yeah. That's a great name.
It is. I hope they keep that as a nickname.
Yeah. Pilar acts like she's never been to Defiance before. The next morning, they're heading out, and Pilar tries to steal the roller, and he's like, no. And then she tries to shoot Nolan in the face, just like from 3 feet away. Luckily, the firing mechanism wasn't in that gun. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And Nolan just did like some great detective work on her. It was like Rafe McCauley's shoes, a half-breed baby. He's like, nice to meet you, Pilar.
Which was a great way of like having that line and then cutting. It was like, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a really fun cut. Yeah. And we see them. I'm like, finally, like Luke's gonna be in good hands, or Bear now is gonna be in good hands. Like Pilar's gonna get brought to justice. She's at least partially responsible for why the McCauleys are dead. Like they wouldn't have been out there if it weren't for the fact that she had stolen them.
Right,
so,
and had shackled a lock and kept them there out in the woods.
Yeah, she is part of the. I mean, I don't know if she like in her crazy brain. I don't think she sees it, but she is part of the reason why her husband and her son and her daughter are dead.
Yeah, she was the catalyst that put into motion the whole situation of why they were where they were at.
Yeah. And he's handcuffing her. She gets him with a right hook, which is like what a tough old broad. But she really wants to fight for. I mean, she's continuing what she's always done, to take care of her family.
So she's like Mama Bear.
Yeah, she's like Mama Bear. Before all this, she told them like information about the VC camp. And like tactical information about it, which happened to be true,
right? Which did help them.
Yeah, which did help them. They went out to the ridge. they handcuff her to a pipe. And it's like, man, just never leave someone.
Of course, unattended.
Yeah.
And then, of course, conveniently, she's going to find a way to get out.
Like, double handcuff her or something. Like, I don't know. Like whenever someone gets handcuffed to anything and they're like,
Right.
we'll be back
in
Don't
3 go hours. Anywhere.
Like, I've never been handcuffed before, and just based off of seeing movies and TV shows, I'm like, I could probably get out.
Right, if you're handcuffed unattended and nobody's around, and you'll conveniently find a way to escape, especially if you're in a TV show or a movie.
In a TV show or a movie,
you'll get out.
Handcuffs are about as effective as like those things that you had in grade school. You like slap on your wrists. Like that's about how effective they are. She of course escapes.
Right.
Irisa insists on bringing Bear now with them to the assault on the VC
Right, because
camp.
that's safe.
Yeah.
For the baby.
Here's what you need for an assault on a VC camp. A lot of ammunition,
Right.
sniper rifle, bag full of grenades, baby.
And a baby.
Yeah, it's like...
Make sure then you keep everything safe.
Yeah.
If you bring a baby.
And, like, I don't know, I feel like Nolan should have fought Irisa. Like, it felt, like, out of character that he was like, you're being real stubborn today.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, let's bring this baby to a firefight.
Yeah, I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
I just like, okay, this is sort of out of place, but I guess they had no other thing that they could do if they were leaving Pilar.
Yeah.
Handcuffed, so how could she take care of the baby theoretically? So somehow they felt they were having it safer for the baby to be in the middle of a firefight than to be with Pilar. That tells you how unsafe they think she is.
Like to a VC, I guess that's how much they trust her. It's like it's safer to a VC firefight. If they find that baby, they'll execute it. Like it's
of course,
it's half human. Like they'll not be happy about
hate
this.
Half breeds anyways.
Yeah, like,
so. You know, of course they like Cher. I mean, I know I said that last week, but that's always that song gets stuck in my head. But I keep thinking of like, gosh, thank goodness there was no human resources. They would have in Defiance. They would definitely take Nolan in for that one, taking a baby into a firefight.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
The HR department in Defiance would be constantly busy. There's a lot of punching people who work for you. There's a lot of relationships.
Yeah, a lot of workers' comp there that'd be going on. A lot of paperwork to fill out.
A lot of unauthorized relationships going on.
And unauthorized use of the armory.
Yeah, unauthorized use of the armory.
All the equipment and the guns and weaponry.
I mean, those mines are an HR nightmare. They'd have to unionize. Listen, you'll get back to HR talk in a little bit, but first, so they go and Nolan has the idea. They have a thing called a net cutter, which just looks like a big gun that shoots through their protection shield. It's like we can't leave that here. That leaves us so vulnerable. He's like, I'm gonna go put these grenades on it, and we're gonna blow it up. And he's like, Irisa, you use the sniper rifle and you cover me. And she gets real scared real quick because she has to, if she's using that sniper rifle, she's going to have to kill people.
That's right.
And she's like, I'm faster.
Yeah.
I'm an alien. I can blend in. You're a better shot. Let me go first. And Nolan calls her out. He's like, because you don't want to shoot anyone. She's like, no, let me do this. It's like, okay. And she goes and she does it. And then Pilar, I mean, I think I just wrote, like, God damn it, Pilar. Like,
I know. I think I wrote something like, of course she escaped.
Yeah. And then it comes and Nolan shoots the sniper rifle, blowing Irisa's cover. She was like real close to putting the grenades on the net cutter, and like they have a little tussle, and Pilar's like, you won't shoot me right in front of my own grandchild. And wrong, he does. And I mean, here's the thing. She could be dead, but this is a TV show, and if there's no body, then probably not.
And so when I didn't see the body, and then later on when he makes the passing comment, she might be rumbling around still, I was like, all right, so she's obviously still alive.
Yeah.
Or at least we're led to believe she's still alive because we didn't see the body, and his comment towards the end of the episode led us to believe that perhaps she was around still.
Now, do you think...
She's going to be a foil.
Do you think, like, she's going to... Like, I was thinking, like, maybe Pilar will, like, somehow join up with the VC and become, like this kind of antagonistic force where it's like, if I'll give you Defiance if you give me my baby. And, like, the VC, of course, is planning on killing her after they destroy Defiance.
Right, yeah, because they hate humans.
Yeah, but maybe they'll like accept having this person as part of the, like, I was thinking that like that kind of thing can happen.
Right, or at some point I feel she's going to be a foil. She's going to be something that's going to be a diversion. So I don't feel like, she's gone away.
Yeah.
I think she's still around, and she'll come back around to cause mayhem.
Who would have thought that a grandma would have been like one of the main, like there are aliens that are that just live underground and eat people.
Right.
Like there are laser weapons. There's like all of this danger,
and the grandmother's the one that's the most dangerous of them all. Yeah, and I do believe it sort of because she was in the background in the first couple seasons, really, and now that we've eliminated some of the other characters that were kind of more central to this, I feel it's now a way for her to be involved and have another human character, and bring her back on the forefront, because she does have a connection to all the main people there in the cast. So I do think she's going to be around, and she's either going to be a spoiler or a foil, what have you. It'll be interesting to see.
Pilar.
Yeah, that crazy
Dang it, Pilar. So
the grandmother's the craziest of them all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess don't get between a bear and her cub.
No,
that's nature's law.
That's right.
Don't get between a bear and her cub.
That's right. If we've not learned anything, it's something to take away from.
I know you want to give that cub marshmallows. Don't do it.
That's right.
Mama bear won't allow it. Mm-mm. Anyway, back at camp, Irisa's infiltrated. She's being all stealthy. Mm-hmm. Got her stealth moves going on. She's got the grenades ready. Boom, gunshot. The camp gets notified. We see Tarak.
Right.
We see Tarak go and take Irisa, and he's got a knife to her. And we learned earlier in the episode between Tarak and Alec that that Tarak is familiar with Nolan, and is kind of like knows that saw his men like butchered by Nolan, saw blood coming down a waterfall, and
so they have a history clearly, and sort of he seems to be his nemesis, and his thorn as a human,
and seems really excited with the idea of being able to like get Nolan and like hurt Nolan, and so he has Irisa, and he's like, I'll be the butcher of like, what is this place?
Oh yeah, that was great. Where are we?
And
like a rock star at a concert, just forgets where they are every day.
Exactly.
Hard party in life.
And
got a hard life, that VC.
Yeah, man, VC life is a hard life.
It's a hard life.
You just get so tired of beheading humans and putting them on top of your car
and continuously moving along. It's easy to forget where you are. Yeah, it's understandable.
He's like, I'll kill Irisa right now, unless you give yourself up. And Nolan is like, no. And he kills like 10 VC. And Irisa reverses the knife on him and has the knife against the general's throat. Like it's so close to killing him. And
but yet,
I just wrote it. I was
so far away.
I was like, Irisa, just kill him. Like here's the thing is like, and afterwards we see Nolan kind of upset with her for not killing him.
Right.
Because now anyone that the VC hurts or kills is kind of on Irisa. Like, and that's the thing is
sort of like going back to Pilar and her family being there. It's it's the reason why it's continuing to happen now. And she had the chance to take him out, and she didn't. And
it is the kind of, it's the question that that we deal with in like modern day United States is like, would you like to live in a moral society that does not kill and be unsafe, or would you like to be safe and kill more than you should?
Right. And that's why I think this show and in sci-fi shows in general do bring about what's happens socially in the modern world today. Yeah. And it has social commentary on it, and that is something that's there right in front of you.
And Nolan out and out says like, we're at war.
Right.
People are gonna die. Like, this is a war.
Yeah.
And
basically, like, you effed up,
Yeah. And especially this group of the VC is dedicated just to destroying Defiance. Like, Defiance to them represents everything that they do not like. Like, what they want to do is destroy Defiance. So, Irisa definitely made a tactical error.
She did, but how do you what were your thoughts on how no one reacted, because in a way it's like it made me have sympathy for her still.
Yeah.
Because it's a hard thing for her to do, and it's almost like he should have known that and been the one to go in and try to, since he's obviously has no problem killing, and had her be, that was my thing too, because I almost had more sympathy for her, because in a way he knew that she might have been uncomfortable killing, even though she said she was okay with it.
Yeah.
And the way he kind of treated her, because I'm still like, it's the father-daughter relationship, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he approached it very, like, pragmatically.
Right.
Where it's like, I don't know if I can trust you anymore.
Right. But still, it's kind of tough to, like, hear that, especially as, like,
if it's your dad, yeah.
Right. And so I did actually have sympathy for her, because I felt like I knew, and kind of going back to that moral issue of, like, how she felt and how it was so difficult for her to be able to do that, regardless of how horrible, the general is. So
I had sympathy for her. At the same time, I still can't, and, like, folks, this is going to be something that I'm going to go back to. I still can't get over the fact that she won't kill, but she is okay taking skin off of someone who she considers a friend. Like I feel like she's like, no, I will absolutely not
I'll
kill.
go all the way to the edge, but not across. Yeah.
It's like Batman, where it's like he will not kill someone, but he'll put you in a hospital for the rest of your life. Like, it's an interesting kind of weird moral line. Like, she was one of the people who like held Doc Ewell down and took her skin.
And for someone too that they didn't really even know.
Yeah.
Therefore, for me, that's where I even had more of a problem. I could see if it was someone that there was a connection and it was like a very, but it was basically a stranger, and now you're taking your friend, quote unquote friend, from the town and doing this to them. That's where I had a little bit of an issue with that last episode. But this one, I did have sympathy for her, and in the sense that no one, in a way, to me, felt like he should have known better, knowing that what her limits were, even if she said she was, knowing that there was a chance that she wouldn't, and so, therefore, he should have been the one, if he felt like he really wanted to make sure that the general was taken out, that he either put himself there or sacrificed himself to do what he could, instead of putting her there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm letting him have the tactical errors, because I think he's upset with the fact that Rafe is dead, and I think a lot of what drove him this episode was, vengeance
and revenge, absolutely.
And that, like, he probably should have, scouted out, saw that they have a net cutter, and then came back with better tools, more people. If he brought Berlin, like
you said, just had prepared. I mean, I get it too, because when you see the enemy and you're there, it's like you want to do what you can to take it out and not let them get away, and then thinking they could have left, and because wasn't their camp already like 200 miles outside of town anyways? I mean, it was a pretty far distance, so it's not like it's as easy to then go back and then get people back there to go fight and, see if they're still there. I mean, it's logistically, it would have been a tough thing to do, but...
And then we see them get back in the roller and go back to Defiance. And I don't know about you, I was like, did they just leave the baby?
I know.
Like, we didn't see him put the baby in the roller. And I was like, did they just leave that baby?
I know. I thought about that. I was like, was that done to make us wonder, or was that just a complete slip when they were, doing the scenes? Regardless, the baby does make it back with them.
Yeah, and I think we'll get to that, and we'll start on to our next characters, which are Tarak and Stahma.
Right, which is a nice transition, because they bring them back to them.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the episode, we see them kind of becoming these spies and working as double agents for the VC. And
because they have their own motivations, they want their son back safely, so they're having to cut this deal to make it happen.
And they still don't trust, Amanda or Nolan enough to come to them and be like, "Hey, we've been asked to spy." I mean, they could be like, "We've been asked to spy on you for the VC. Like, what's some false information that seems true, or like, what can we do to kind of make it seem like we're doing both?"
Because they're, they're the slithering snakes, as we've been talking about, anyways.
They want to play the winning side. Right. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, I think as soon as it becomes clear that the VC are going to lose,
then they jump ship.
Then they will be like, by the way, we've been doing this to help, like.
And at this point, they're motivated too by their son's safety in return.
For sure.
So that's driving them more than anything. But I also have to say, at the beginning, the funny thing was when they were back in the bath.
Yeah.
okay, they need to that makeup.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, what is going on with the makeup? That's this whole side thing, but it was like his was all cakey.
Yeah.
Hers was so white, and I know because they're in the white, house in the bath.
It's very stark.
It was pancaked on there, but I was like, oh my god, talking about Doc Yule, like a tub of spackle, that's what they used on them.
Yeah.
They were so overly covered with makeup. That was just my silly observation, but I just kept, it was distracting to me because it was so much. Especially with him, it was like all cracking and caking. I was like, okay guys, let's figure out how we can fix that in post next time.
Yeah,
made me laugh, but that was a funny little scene too with them with the comedic stuff there when they were going back for their bath.
Yeah, we see one of the people that's promised to them.
Yeah, their house guest. I did write her name down.
I thought I did too, and I can't find it.
I did. Indina. And they catch her in the shower, in the bath.
Yeah.
And they were kind of jokey about, well, best to keep the plumbing active,
Yeah, it kind of. I mean, I think they were hinting at something else, and it kind of felt like a weird kind of like, oh yeah, good. Thanks for keeping our bath warm.
Yeah.
They didn't like drain the water either.
I know, right? They just got right into the same bath. I was like, okay.
I mean, it's your culture.
Yeah. Hey, they're not wasting water, and if they were in California, they're saving water. Good for them. Thank you.
And then we see a pretty funny scene of Tarak and Stahma setting up like this relay that they're giving to so they can relay information back to the VC, and Tarak's kind of micromanaging. And just like, did you remember to face it north? And she's like, yes.
Yeah.
You do your job, you do mine. He's like, make sure it's not exposed. And she's like, I get it. Yes,
yeah, that was pretty hilarious. And they're out there in the elements, and
and
I loved again they had the little their own language on there. And that was good. I love that.
And we kind of see we now see like the main device of how they're going to contact the VC, and immediately what they do is they tell the VC that Nolan and Irisa are on their way out there, which could have gotten Nolan and Irisa killed.
Right,
like, that's tactical information.
Right,
like,
that was very big information again.
Yeah,
right against their own. I would say their own kind there in Defiance.
Yeah. Tarak then goes to what we assume he's going to go steal the weapons that he brought back with him from the VC, and Berlin catches him, and there's kind of like this interesting tension between the two of them, where he's like, I saved your life, and you kind of owe me a big one. And we see that this is a kind of a big misdirect, that the weapons that he brought back from the VC were sabotaged.
Yeah.
That they had worms in them that are shrill worms that are there to destroy the armory. And so he was doing this big elaborate misdirect. Because if he didn't go to try and steal them back, then they'd be like, oh, you brought these back to sabotage us.
Right.
But instead, he was there to try and get them back. So it's like this. It's a brilliant misdirect. These two are great schemers.
The best in the business.
It's bad news for Defiance. Like last season, they were kind of scheming against each other, and now they're scheming with each other. It's bad news for Defiance. There's a lot of scheming.
Together. They're more powerful working together than working against each other.
But we see Tarak, he's in jail, and there's this moment with Amanda where she's like, I still hold you accountable for Kenya.
Right.
And she's like, I've tried to, I've thought about it all the time. She's like, I don't know if I can get over it unless you swear that you will help Defiance and that you will gather your criminal empire, but you will gather the criminals together to help Defiance and get it back to its former glory. And Tarak swears to Defiance.
In several languages.
In several languages.
And then she's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you out. Like, dumb,
but I think at the same time, I think Tarak does have an odd sense of honor.
No, I do think that, and I also, it was Amanda's MO to do that as well.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, so it was expected. Like, all right, great. If you say so, then I'll let you. I'll let you go.
I think Tarak does have an odd sense of honor.
I do.
I think
when it comes down to it, if it came down to them versus Defiance, and it was and he had his son back, absolutely.
And I think it's especially since he swore in his own language. I think he might, when it comes to the end, he might go with honoring his word instead of betraying Defiance.
No, I do. But like you were saying earlier, it's all about them, and when it's all said and done, it's all about them and what's going to be best for them. Whoever else is involved or hurt or whatever, it's only about him and his family. So, but I thought it was dumb on her move in that sense, because I always feel like she does those type of things, but it was expected. But yes, I do think there's also that weird sense of honor, some kind of, on both sides of that, but...
I think Amanda really wants Daytak to be on her side.
Right,
like,
and I think Amanda wants the best for it, but I'm saying the dumb move in the sense that he's going to be able to do a lot more damage before he comes back to the other side to protect Defiance. So in the meantime...
He's just going to be doing a lot of sabotage.
A lot of sabotage and a lot of hurt to the town.
Which we see already. The armory is gone.
Right.
The armory is infested with shrill worms.
So their defense is already down.
Yeah.
Without without the stasis nets up and running, and you've already got a depleted army, and now you have no weaponry at all, in a sense, very little. So now you're basically just open to anything.
Yeah, that's bad news bears.
Right.
Yeah. At the same time, we see Stahma at the Need Want, and we see this creature, Tevgin, an Omec, who, through histories told, has eaten flesh and murdered and taken out entire civilizations, and he's playing with children's toys.
Yeah.
And
which was a great, I thought it was a great opening for that scene.
I know, he's completely confused by them. And he's just playing with these toys. And we see Stahma doing her great temptress. Oh my god! Kind of like
the other one, best in the business. Besides being a schemer, she's the best at seductress and flirting, and she's so good. I love it.
She's a great honeypot. She's such a good honeypot.
She's so good, and I've loved her from the very beginning.
Yeah. And we get some actually really interesting background on the Omecs and their ship and why their ship isn't working.
Right. Although he's still, like everyone else in this episode, is lying. He's still lying for the real reasons and everything and the motives.
Yeah, he does say that all of their life support died and they were exposed, and it's just him and his daughter. But he also says, and this is interesting, that the reason why their ship got broken in the first place, it was the VC being jealous and didn't want them to get to Earth first.
Right.
Which probably would have been real bad for Earth, from what we've heard of these.
Yes.
We're probably very happy that the VC did that. But
in a weird way, who hate the humans, and yet in a way they helped the humans by, delaying the Omec from being there.
But it establishes that the Omec and the VC do not like each other.
Right, which kind of goes back to what we were saying last episode, that, we were feeling that the Omecs will team up with Defiance to help rid of the VC. There will be allies that will develop in this war, and the Omecs will, clearly be on the Defiance side to protect the village, and I do think there's going to be love interests, and there's going to be more of a reason for them to want to protect them than how we're thinking right now.
It's going to be allies. It'll be very much the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation. And I think it might terrify the VC if they knew that there was an Omec in Defiance.
Yeah.
Like that might straight up cause at least a little pause before they attack. Because, from what we've heard, these Omecs, it would be like if we were like, oh, yeah, we're going to go to that town. And they're like, oh, they have a real vampire there.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah,
real-life vampire. It's just hanging out there. Like, I don't believe you. That can't be true. It's like, no, it's true. It already killed a little boy. Like, okay, that's insane. Like, I'm not going to go to that town.
Right. Don't go there after dark.
Yeah.
And again, I love their scene, and I love her seductress stuff when he was like, oh, how do I get sweetbread? And she was like, oh, I thought you Omecs wanted something with a little more savory.
Yeah. Cut. Straight cut after that. It's like, we got it. We understand what was happening. And then at the end of their story...
Yeah, then they moved to drinks.
But at the end of the story between Daytak and Stahma, they're reunited with Bear or Luke. But we see them get their grandson back.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but that was like, I was like, oh, they do love this kid. Like, these are schemers, they're backstabbers, they're murderers. But by the end of the last season, like, they had accepted the human part of their family.
Right, they did. And in a
loved
way,
the human part of their family.
When, Stahma was talking about loving a human.
Yeah.
To Tevgen, I was like, yeah, that to me was the only true thing of her whole entire seductress part, was that part. And I was like, yes. And then as you saw later on when they got their grandchild back, it was kind of went full circle.
It was beautiful that they got him back. And Irisa is still upset about it. She's like, he was with his grandchild. Right. It's like, are Tarak and Stahma less crazy than Pilar?
Right.
I don't know. I think it's more of the enemy that you know,
right,
kind of thing.
It's the more comfortable enemy there, rather than Pilar. That seems to be a little more out on the fly, like running around in the woods, and there's somewhat of a sense of stability at their house. Yeah. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, hey, if they were foster care and you're going to put them in a house, would you put them with the crazy one that's running all over? Or you want to put them in the stable environment, that's able to take care of them and have the extended family and have us, able to be good money and all that stuff. Then you're kind of like, okay.
And still connected with Alec. Like, Alec is still...
And he's there as well. So then you have the you're right. It would make more sense on paper. But
So I actually kind of...
all crazy, but...
I kind of left this episode... I mean, even though at the very, very end we see that they have been given orders to blow up the Ark in St. Louis, like, I kind of left this episode feeling good. Like, I kind of felt like, I was like, at least, like, Luke's with his family, and, like, they're there.
And he's safe, and he's in a town now where he's safe, and for the time being.
Yeah.
And right now the next step is, like, how are they going to get Alec back, and are they going to go through with this plan of blowing up the Arch, or are they now, like you were saying, is his loyalty going to kick in, and now are they going to just find a way of getting their son back and continue to, at the same time, protect their town?
Yeah, I think Luke being there makes it... there's much more motivation
there's more
to
at
protect
stake.
the town.
There's more at stake now to protect their town, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if they blow up the Arch, I mean, that'll change the opening to the show quite a bit.
It would, right?
Yeah.
You're going to change the whole beginning. But also, it's also personal, too, because that's where their son... That to me, was more than human. That was where their son... That
his radio show. Yeah,
it was a very special place for him. So to me, it's almost more personal for them for that as well.
Yeah, and then our final song is actually one of my favorite songs of all time. Hey Joe.
Yes.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yes, that was a great song choice this time.
Yeah, he wasn't performing it, but it's still it's a great.
No, we never do because too expensive. So we'll just.
But it's a great song,
but it is, and it's interesting the way they're choosing the songs. I know we've tried to find patterns and stuff in the past seasons, but I've felt like they definitely improved in their song choices for these episodes this season so far.
Yeah, and
they've stepped it up a little bit.
I mean, Hey Joe is all about betrayal, and someone who is violently responding to that betrayal.
Exactly. So it was like I'm saying, it fit perfectly with this episode. Yeah, it's definitely been a step up.
Because Tarak and Stahma are technically betraying Defiance. I think Nolan feels betrayed by Irisa. I think Irisa feels betrayed by Nolan. There's a lot
Pilar's been betrayed, like everyone, when you really stop and think about it. So I thought that was a really good song choice for tonight.
As far as Alec knows, his mom slit his wife's throat and does not realize that she did it to save his son. So like there's betrayal going all over the place. I mean, Doc Ewell feels betrayed by people she trusted. They took her skin off. That's a pretty big betrayal. Yeah. Folks, in the line of betrayal, taking someone's skin off is a big betrayal of trust.
That is.
Yeah.
Treating one's skin like a tub of spackle.
I'd rather you lie to me and not tell me where you were last night than take my skin off.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that about wraps it up. You want to get into predictions?
Absolutely.
Let's get into some predictions.
Let's do it.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Ooh.
So we saw the preview for next week's episode.
It wasn't much of a preview, though.
It wasn't much of a preview.
I was like, are they still in post, like trying to get it done?
Yeah. So I guess what I want to get is like your prediction, like an overall prediction of like, what do you think? How do you think this season of Defiance is going to shake out, especially now that we've kind of know that like the Omec and the VC have this kind of background together. We didn't see the daughter this round.
We didn't, which was interesting because I was like, where is she? You know, it was weird that we didn't. Yeah, like, it was odd that we didn't see her, but it kind of goes back to what I said last episode of how I felt like there was going to be allies developing, and even before I knew the history with the VC and Omec, I felt like there was that weird flirtation with Nolan and what's her name, Kinsey? Yeah. There was that weird flirtation, so I felt like, you know, there was going to be some kind of establishment of like a connection of love, and therefore the Omec were going to feel a need to protect this town, regardless of what they're going to end up doing down the road, from the VC, and they were going to be strange bedfellows or strange allies for this town to help protect them. I don't think we've seen the last of Pilar because I think, like we said, the reason why we didn't see a body, and because we killed off so much of that family, she's going to come back to some capacity, some way. And like I said, I think we are both in agreement with the Tars. Once they can get Alak back, they're going to be protecting the town. But I don't think they're going to blow up the arch.
You don't think they're going to blow up the arch?
No.
I think they're going to show that they're trying
exactly.
to.
I think they'll pretend
like
to
something
try.
Something happens.
Right, they'll pretend to try, and it won't happen, or something will. But I don't agree. It'll be blown up.
I agree with all of that.
Especially it's expensive to have to redo that whole entire intro.
Oh man,
that's not in the budget till season 4.
Come on.
You know?
I agree with all that. I'm really interested in what they're doing with Amanda this season. They haven't really given her anything to do in the first 3 episodes. Like, she doesn't really, like, because now Kenya isn't there, she doesn't really have any motivation to be there. She's not fighting against the E-Rep. She doesn't she doesn't really have much going on for her. So I'm interested to see what they're doing with her, because right now she's just kind of a side character. Like, we saw her we saw Berlin more than we saw her today.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's a good point. And even though it's town centric in the sense that they're trying to protect Defiance from the VC, it's really not. So, you know, she has less of a role in that sense because there's so many outside characters and so many outside things going on that are leading up to the obvious invasion of the town or what have you, that she's been relegated to a side character, like you said, which is a good point. Even though she's back to being mayor, there hasn't been much for her. So it'll be you're right. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out the rest of the season if she has more of a role.
Awesome.
Time will tell.
Scott, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at sman80. That's sman80, and also usually on Wednesday nights covering Orange is the New Black as well here.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, 1. That's the end of our show. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.